Story 1. The importance of maintaining good, clear communication cannot be overstated. Without effective communication, important information can be lost or missed, leading to significant consequences. Story 2. My wife and I have a policy that it is us versus the problem instead of us versus each other. We also communicate our feelings openly. Story 3. Being genuine, open, willing to learn and grow, facing personal issues, encouraging your partner, demonstrating empathy, showing vulnerability, and asking, "What does love require?" My grandma once told me the secret to her long and happy relationship was simple. They never fell out of love with one another at the same time. Story 4. Warren Buffett said low expectations, which may sound sad and a bit horrific, but it addresses something deeper. Everyone has flaws. It is inevitable. Holding unrealistic expectations of others will lead to resentment, which is the root of all breakups. While having boundaries and standards is important, you must realize that you will need a positive perspective for the relationship to succeed in the long term. Story 5. All this and regular intimacy, both sexual and physical touch, are important. Hugs are often underrated. While sex may not be as important to some people, it certainly is to me. The more, the better. Story 6. All cards on the table. Full transparency, full communication, and listening to each other. Boundaries and respect, but most of all, choosing each other through the good, bad, ugly, and everything in between. Story 7. Beyond what everyone is saying, find something your partner enjoys and incorporate it into your life. For example, my wife is very sensitive to scents, so I discovered which ones she really likes. Now I use lavender-scented beard oil, and it makes her very happy. Story 8. Be open to couples counseling spot checks. You do not have to wait for your relationship to be falling apart to meet with a therapist together. Story 9. As they have said, really listen and appreciate the differences. My wife and I regularly say this to each other. It's become a joke. You were right. I was wrong. What was I thinking? Story 10. Having someone who complements your personality helps balance the relationship between both of you. I'm an introvert, and my husband is an extrovert. I don't like being around people, but he talks to everyone. That's actually how we got together, and it's why we dislike being apart for more than a few hours. Communication and complete honesty, even when it's brutal, are key. Make up intimacy is enjoyable at any age or stage of your relationship. Story 11. Effective communication and mutual respect are essential. Open, honest, and empathetic communication helps resolve conflicts, express needs, and strengthen emotional bonds. Additionally, mutual respect ensures that both partners feel valued, understood, and supported. Story 12. Separate blankets. Trust me, your relationship will last 10 times longer without the midnight blanket tug of war. Story 13. I volunteer for honor flights. Every Korean War and Vietnam War veteran I have asked this same question has answered it similarly. Have fun together. Keep the element of surprise like an unexpected day trip. Laugh together. These men have been married for 50 to 70 years. This is the secret. Story 14. Patience, communication, compromise, and teamwork. Being a good partner means understanding that you are building something together. This involves discussing matters collaboratively, making decisions as a team, supporting each other, and doing what is best for everyone involved. Story 15. Communication involves taking the time to check in, hearing your partner's thoughts and feelings, and listening actively rather than waiting for your turn to speak. Every relationship I have had that flourished in my life has been the result of active communication efforts. Conversely, every relationship that has ended in heartbreak or resentment in my life has, at least in part, been due to poor communication during the final stretch. Story 16. Discuss matters beyond disagreements. If you are uncomfortable with how chores are divided, address it calmly when emotions are not running high, perhaps a day later. Express your feelings clearly. I feel this way, and I would appreciate it if you could help with this task, so I can also complete mine and feel happy. Avoid unloading your frustrations during a conflict. Story 17. Give each other the chance to grow. Do not assume your partner is a certain way and cannot change or develop. Avoid expressions like, "here we go again," or similar phrases. Story 18. Communication. Be supportive, have fun, and act maturely when things don't go your way. We made it through 36 years of good, bad, and really bad times. Story 19. Be friends as well as lovers. I believe that being married to my best friend is one of the greatest gifts in life. Story 20. It is a team effort. There is a basket that you both share. Contains everything you need to make it work. However, every time you take from the basket, you must take the time to restock it. If one of you slips up, it becomes difficult to get back to full. Once the basket starts being consumed, the time and effort to restock will inevitably run dry. Then you are both left with a basket that is empty. Story 21. Communication is important. Just because one side feels empty or alone at a certain point doesn't mean they should cheat. Talk it out, seek professional help, and if all else fails, end things on good terms. Story 22. I'm a guy. I have a code I call the point system. It's not scientific, but it keeps me in check, and apparently it's like a revelation to other guys I tell it to, so here goes. Always make sure you're in positive points. How many doesn't matter. Just ensure you're in positive points. Points are gained by doing things that she likes. It doesn't matter what it is. Just ensure you're in positive points. If you mess up, your points drop to 0. 0 is okay. It's clearly not positive points, but you can gain those points back. Make sure you're in positive points. If you're at 0 and haven't gained points back, and you mess up again, you're in trouble. Now you have to earn points back, but you'll never know how many are needed to reach positive numbers again. That's for her to determine and never tell you. If you go into negative points, be extra nice, but not just for a day, be nice for as long as it takes. This code has kept me out of negative points for many years. My wife loves the code. Make sure you're in positive points. This code allows you to even spend points. Go out drinking with the guys, you can drop to 0. You may have been well into positive points, but you'll have the ability to get those points back pretty quickly. Go out drinking with your friends, get blackout drunk, and not tell your wife. Now you're in negative points. You can even spin some of this. Go out for a couple of beers on a work night. Grab flowers and ice cream on the way home. You may not gain points, but you won't drop to 0. And remember, make sure you're in positive points. Story 23. Marry your best friend. Someone who will do anything for you and vice versa. If you cannot have open communication or a conversation with your partner, it is probably not going to last. Story 24. Acknowledge that a relationship is not a Hollywood romance. It is not always easy, and it involves falling in love over and over again. Respect each other. Do not take each other for granted. Make time for each other, but also for yourselves. If you have children, this is incredibly important, as it is easy to focus all your attention on parenting and forget about maintaining your relationship. Story 25. My wife snores more than I do. We both work, so I sleep in the other bedroom, and we both get a good night's sleep. The best thing we did for ourselves was to create this arrangement. When we travel and have to sleep together, I wear earplugs, which helps as well. Story 26. It's not about what you buy for the holidays. It's not about the big things. It's about the little things. Be considerate. Wipe the snow off their car in the morning, surprise them, and leave a note in their lunchbox. They all add up. Story 27. Communicate needs honestly. Listen to them with intention. Act on your partner's requests if you are comfortable doing so. If not, return to the first step. Consistently practice all three and communicate that you expect the same from them. If two people cannot make this work, it is not a good fit. This is the recipe for success. Story 28. What has helped me in my relationships is learning to be more humble, admitting when I am wrong, and apologizing. Story 29. Big confidence, knowing how to use it, having financial stability, and being kind and loving to one another. Giving each other space when needed and supporting each other through thick and thin. Story 30. Communication is important during both good and bad times. Some people grow apart and make choices that distance them further during difficult situations, not realizing that overcoming challenges together can bring them closer. Story 31. My answer is practice. Treat every day like you are practicing being who you want to be, including in relationships. No one thing is right for everyone, so you will discover what works for you as you progress. But you have to practice to improve. Story 32. You are not the same. You are not one, but you work to be as united as possible. You would struggle if they could continue if needed. You can be quite different at times, but not completely opposite in many ways. Have some freedom, but not with the people you are attracted to, especially with some alcohol involved. I go with males on tour. She goes with females. We both have fun. We both avoid unnecessary risks. Talk, connect, grow together. Together without a commitment since 1997. Story 33. Talk to one another. It doesn't matter if it's a sensitive topic. My grandmother has been with her husband for 68 years, and if there is something they feel, they address it and move on. Story 34. Do not listen to any third party. People give advice based on their experiences. Others may never understand how deep your connection is with your loved ones. Story 35. If you both prioritize your relationship over individual desires, everything will fall into place. This means being honest and hearing honesty without personalizing feelings, working together to solve life's challenges, and, most importantly, waking up every day with the goal of making your partner happy. Life can be overwhelming at times, so it is essential to see each other as partners who help one another through those moments. Additionally, avoid speaking negatively about your partner to anyone outside your marriage, unless it is with your therapist. Story 36. Communication, respecting boundaries, and honesty are essential. Both parties should want to put effort into making each other feel happy, desired, and appreciated. Supporting and encouraging one another is important, as is being willing to compromise. Story 37. Do not assume that your partner can read your mind all the time. Good and respectful communication is key. Story 38. Respect each other's privacy. Continue to do what your partner loves about you, and most importantly, listen to what they are saying, even if you are busy. Story 39. I asked that same question to a man who recently lost his wife of 65 years. I was in a retirement home visiting my grandmother, and his answer was that you have to be a team. Take every step in life together, both good and bad, and face everything together, never alone. It was heartbreaking to see him tear up over how much he missed her. Elderly people are a fountain of wisdom. Story 40. Wait for the first 3 months to pass before making any major decisions about the future of the relationship. Story 41. Ultimately, personality is the most important factor for both individuals. If two people share similar values, whether about society, philosophy, or religion, maintaining the relationship comes naturally. However, if their perspectives differ and you want the relationship to last, you need to be intentional. Don't expect too much or seek complete understanding. Instead, accept the other person as they are, respect their views, and recognize that this is how they see the world. Story 42. When difficult times occur, focus on understanding how others feel and explaining your own feelings. Both you and they may have feelings that are not justified, and that's okay. It's just another obstacle to overcome together. Consider your issues as problems to solve as a team. Feeling hurt doesn't always mean someone has wronged you. Discuss how situations make you feel rather than why they were wrong. Story 43. Hold space, listen, validate, be curious, problem solve together, and improve things moving forward. Problems do not disappear because you ignore or dismiss them. Story 44. My mom was a night owl and my dad was an early bird. They both told me at different times that this meant they always had some time to themselves. My dad got up at 5 while my mom got up at 10. He went to bed at 9 and she stayed up until 2. My husband is the early bird, and I'm the night owl. Last week we celebrated 17 years together, and we've never had an argument. Story 45. Find someone who can keep you laughing, who can laugh along with you at everything else. Story 46. Over 20 years, we never forget each other's humanity. Humans do a lot of silly things, and we forgive each other for those actions. We remain kind to one another and genuinely like each other as human beings. Story 47. The best tip? I would say it is communication. You have to express your true self to the one you love. Share what you want and what you like, even if it seems unusual. Communication is key. Story 48. Besides the obvious need for open and honest communication, Gottman suggests that you can choose to turn towards or turn away from your partner when they reach out. It's important to make them feel heard and be supportive, turning towards, rather than negative or dismissive, turning away. Consistently turning towards each other creates a positive feedback loop that makes both individuals feel valued. This is especially true during a conflict. You can still disagree with someone and turn towards them. It's all about your approach. Story 49. It's you and your partner against the problem, never against each other. Also, if my 48-year marriage is anything to go by, marry a woman with a big personality that just doesn't quit. That might just be my perspective, though. Story 50. Wanting each other. Sexually, emotionally. It all. Constantly desiring each other's company, advice, and touch. Story 51. Communication is key. Almost any issue that arises can be resolved through open dialogue. Even when there are external factors, such as financial concerns, expressing your feelings can be incredibly helpful. Additionally, never stop dating your partner. Even after years of marriage and having children of any age, it's important to go out on dates and engage in activities together beyond just being parents. Story 52. For my relationship, I think it has been playful. We sarcastically tease each other constantly, and we have amazing laughs together. Story 53. Set a time once a week to discuss important topics. This allows you to avoid dealing with issues in the moment when emotions are high, knowing they will be addressed later. As long as both partners in a relationship are committed to making it work, it can succeed. It requires effort, but if you invest that effort, it will pay off. Additionally, having your weekly discussion in a pleasant setting with cake, biscuits, or your preferred snacks can make both of you more open to reasonable conversations. Story 54. Not mine, but the saying basically goes something like this. A perfect relationship isn't 50-50. It is 60-40, with both trying to give their 60. Story 55. That thing you don't want to talk about is exactly what you need to address. You contribute to every situation in your relationship, either by engaging with it or by ignoring it. Some hills aren't worth dying on. My wife overfills garbage cans and refuses to put in a new bag. It drives me crazy, but after 10 years of this, I've decided to forgive her. She has many other great traits, and this is just causing me mental anguish. However, there are other issues, like reminding her that spending $500 on a mobile game in a month is too much, which I wouldn't let go. You create value in your partner. For instance, if you think you have a useless husband, the way to change that is to praise the good things he does instead of nagging him about the bad. Often, even a lazy spouse does something good naturally. You can either be the spouse who says, "Oh, looks like you finally learned how to take out the trash," which punishes him for doing what you want, ensuring he may never do it again. Alternatively, you could walk up, squeeze his butt, and tell him how attractive he looks taking care of the house. Guess which husband learns to take out the trash? The difficult part is when you've let things go so far that you only see negatives. You might think, "I'm not going to compliment my husband. He's not a child. He should know to take out the trash." Reflect on the type of partner you have become and what kind of spouse you are left with. It's hard to be the bigger person, especially when you feel drained. However, I've started doing this with my wife over the past 6 months, and it's already making a world of difference. I'm buying her flowers not because she has earned them, but because I want to love her more deeply. Initially, nothing changed. Buy more flowers, plan a night out, make her lunch for work. After a few months, she is starting to turn back into the woman I fell in love with. She helps with the kids instead of binge-watching television for 12 hours, and she is more responsive to touch. I also feel less bitter. Turns out when you invest in something, your brain starts to love that thing. The way I get the wife I want is to treat her as if she is already that ideal partner, and she subconsciously rises to that standard. She might think, oh, maybe I am a wife worthy of flowers. He has been doing everything, maybe I should contribute. And then her love encourages me in return. You receive a thank you and a kiss instead of a confused look when you bring home a gift. In short, you are half of your spouse. Yes, they have responsibilities too, but if you invest in them, unless they are completely unresponsive, they will respond positively. Story 56. I feel that it relates to communication and respecting each other's feelings, as well as respecting oneself. As long as both individuals can discuss their concerns neutrally, I believe it can lead to a better understanding. Story 57. Huwag kayong mag-usap. Communication lang. Dapat habang kayo ay nagtatry na mag-explore together, hindi puro sex. Gumawa kayo ng travel, negosyo, o kaya kumuha kayo ng bahay at lupa o sasakyan. Ganon. Story 58. Oral first thing in the morning. Preferably, let them sleep in on weekends. Then, as they start to wake, go in for the kill. Story 59. Communication. After 14 years in a wonderful marriage, I can say that communication is key. Marriage may not be everyone's ultimate goal, but in relationships, a level of mutual respect and open communication is essential. When I am at 10% capacity, I inform my wife, and she provides the remaining 90%. When she needs a break and is at 10%, I take on the 90%. Respect and communication. Story 60. Borderline personality disorder and a fear of communication can create significant challenges in a relationship, making it difficult for partners to express their feelings and consider ending the relationship. Story 61. Find someone with low sexual marketplace value who has anxious attachment issues. Humans are only as faithful as their options. While some may claim their grandparents stayed together forever, they were the exception, not the rule. In a large dataset, your grandparents were the isolated point far off in the corner, away from the other data points. Story 62. Do not combine finances, do not get legally married, and do not share accounts. Ensure that if things do not work out, the separation is easy and fair. This way, neither party has significant assets to lose, and those assets are not part of what ends the relationship. Many divorces occur because women are incentivized to betray their partners. They may receive custody of the children, the home, a substantial portion of the assets, child support, spousal support, and half of the retirement accounts as a reward for betraying the primary earner, who is often the same person. This is the reason to consider ending the relationship. If these financial incentives did not exist and leaving meant she only loses what you contribute, she would be more likely to act fairly, improve conflict resolution skills, and ultimately the relationship would last longer. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.